welcome to my introduction to blank firing replica guns. This video is part one of a two-part series on blank firing replica guns. In this video I'll be talking about the uses for blank firing guns. I'll be showing you a number of guns from different manufacturers. I'll be showing you the blank ammunition that they use and talking about the construction of the blank firing replica guns. Before we go on, I just want to point out that all guns you see today have been safety checked by me prior to the demonstration, and any ammunition that I show you is either dummy ammunition or has been fired. Now in front of us we have four blank firing replica guns. This one's a 1911 copy by Kimar. This one is a Beretta 92 FS copy made by Umarex. This one is a Glock 17 copy made by Zoraki, and this is a loose copy of a Smith & Wesson revolver made by EKOL. So how do they compare to the real steel? Well, this is a real 1911 made by Remington, and you can see that the copy, or the replica, is fairly similar. I mean, they're similar in size, in weight, and most of the functionality. One of the things missing on this particular gun is the grip safety that all real Colt 1911s have, but otherwise it looks a lot like the real thing. Now, the Beretta replica and a real Beretta, you'll see that the one of the differences is the real Beretta obviously has the Beretta logo on the grip. The Umarex has a Rec brand on the grip. Some of the Umarex copies are licensed and will feature the original brand on the grip as well, but not in this case. Otherwise, not a bad replica. It does have caliber 9mm PAK written on the side, which is a bit of a giveaway, and it says Rec Miami on the side, made in Germany, but you know, otherwise it's a pretty good replica. Move those to one side. Okay, the replica Glock and a real Glock 17, fairly similar in size and shape. All of the Zoraki guns feature their branding fairly prominently on the slide, and as far as I'm concerned, this detracts from the realism. So, you know, the Zoraki guns, and this goes for EKOL as well, the EKOL guns also do this, make them less appealing for me, but you know, size and shape, feel and weight, very similar. I'll move those aside. Now the last one is the Smith & Wesson revolver replica. It's a bit shinier than a real one. This is a real Smith & Wesson revolver. This is a 3-inch barrel and this is a 2.5, so slightly different in size, but the frame is fairly similar in size. The grips on this one are fairly plasticky and cheap, where the grips on the real gun are rubber. But you know, otherwise, again, not a bad replica. So what are blank firing replica guns used for? Well, in Europe, where most of these guns are made, they're called gas alarm guns, and this is because they ship with a flare adapter which screws into the muzzle and is used for firing distress flare. As I showed you before, many of these guns are pretty good copies of the original, and they operate just like the original as well, and this makes them fun to own. As a result, they're popular with collectors and can also be used for theatrical purposes such as film and TV production. As a film and TV armourer, I can tell you that we often use real guns modified to fire blanks, and in the case of a semi-automatic pistol, the process of modifying the gun is destructive in that it can't be used to fire real bullets after that. So having a blank firing replica is a low cost and simple way of augmenting our armoury. While these guns might not always stand up to the scrutiny of a close-up shot, for most scenes they're more than adequate. Blank firing replica guns need special blank firing cartridges. The type of cartridge you need will depend on the gun. The semi-automatic front firing replica blank guns take 9mm PA or 9mm PAK blanks. The way that the 9mm PA blank works is that there's a plastic insert in the shell which is held tight. It doesn't come out, it actually splits, venting the hot gases when the cartridge is fired. The revolvers tend to use the 380 blank, which is a rimmed cartridge, and it's a crimped brass cartridge. This one's been fired, so it's opened up. These are pretty versatile because they'll also work in a real revolver, a 38 Special or a 357 Magnum. Now, the 9mm PA blank will not work in a regular 9mm handgun. The reason is that the case is longer than a real 9mm bullet, and so the head spacing's all wrong. It just won't fit inside the chamber. If you want to fire a blank in a 9mm pistol, you need one of these. This one's been fired as well, so this is a 9mm crimped brass blank, and you can see it has a shoulder on it to preserve the head spacing. I mentioned earlier that the build quality of these blank firing replica guns varies greatly between make and model. However, there are a number of things that are common with all of these blank firing replica guns, and one of the most important ones, of course, is that they are constructed so that you can't put in real ammunition. Now, in this blank firing replica revolver, they have put a restrictor at the end of the cylinder so that you cannot feed in real ammunition. This is a 38 Special round, a dummy, and it just will not go in. If you turn it over, you can see the restrictor at the back of the cylinder. There's also a restrictor built into the forcing cone area in the barrel, so that size is only about 2/3 of the size required by a 38 round. So there's no chance of a real one being put into the cylinder or fired. The restrictor in the back of the cylinder serves a secondary purpose on these revolvers in so much as it's head spaced appropriately to fire a 9mm PA round. Now, of course, the regular rounds for these are the 380 rimmed blanks. The 9mm PAs aren't rimmed, so even though it'll fire properly and it's quite an acceptable use, you'll have to get them out with your finger because the ejector just can't get them. Similarly, the semi-automatic blank firing replica pistols will not accept real ammunition. For a start, the magazine won't accept the ammunition. You can get the first one in, but the magazine's too shallow. The round's too long, and so it will not go in. And the mag well is similarly constructed. The chamber of the gun is also set up with a restrictor so that you cannot feed a real round into the chamber, and it's quite tight as well. In this particular gun, this restrictor is a rod that runs the entire length of the barrel, and this is also to stop foreign objects being put down the muzzle and fired out of the muzzle. Now, the restrictor in the barrel serves two purposes. As I said, it's a safety device, but secondly, it allows the gas pressures to build up when the gun is fired sufficiently to drive the blowback action of the gun and cycle the action. Now, not all of the guns have a rod running down the barrel to act as a restrictor. This Kimar 1911 replica actually has a grub screw which can be removed for cleaning. Even with the grub screw out, there's a restrictor down in the chamber and to stop real ammunition being fed into the chamber. I want to talk a little bit about the safety systems on some of these blank firing replicas as well. Now, most of the blank firing replicas do have a trigger safety that operates, which is fine, but there are other systems on real guns that are built in to prevent accidents which aren't provided with the blank firing replicas. One of them is a hammer block, which this gun does not have, and the other one is a firing pin block. Now, the purpose of the firing pin block is to stop the hammer engaging the firing pin and discharging a cartridge unless the finger is on the trigger. On this gun, however, there is no such firing pin block, and you'll see that if I was to push on the firing pin with my torch there's the firing pin there, the firing pin is activating. Now, why this is important is because if you chamber a round into this gun and then carefully drop the hammer, and then wander around thinking that it's safe. If you were to accidentally bump the hammer, it may indeed discharge the blank firing round, which can be dangerous. So it's something to be aware of. This concludes part 1 of my introduction to blank firing replica guns. At the end of the video I'll be linking to part 2, where I'll be talking about the safe handling and operation of blank firing guns and doing some blank firing demonstration both at normal speed and in slow-mo. If you've got any comments or questions about this video, please leave them in the comments section below, and if you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.